Hi, I'm Greg Miller. Today we're going to be continuing some of our tutorial videos on setting up the electrical devices that are associated with some of the Solar Innovations products. Today we're going to be talking about the basics of initial wiring and programming of the roller shade motors, how to reset them if something is configured incorrectly, and also how to adjust the limits once they're already in use. All right, this first tutorial video is about the initial setup of a roller shade motor. You're only going to need a couple things to do this. You need your simple initial programming cut list from the motor manufacturer. You need a programming tool. You can use a fine-tip precision screwdriver, an eyeglass screwdriver, or the most common, a simple bent open paper clip, and your control device. Your motor should be completely installed in the tube. It is not possible to program the motor until it is installed in the tube. There's a keyway in this tube that tells the motor how many rotations it spends. So the first thing that we have to do is wire it. On this display, I have a temporary wiring solution, but most of these are simple 120 motors, so you have your ground, your line, and your neutral. To do your initial setup, you power the device on. I'm going to plug this right into the wall. And right now it's in a clean state. It has nothing understood. So the very first step that you do is you take your programming device and you hit both up and down at the same time. You'll notice that the motor jogged. The jogging is an indicator for you to know you now have roughly 10 minutes to finish the programming state before the motor wipes clean. You have to make it through saving your settings within that 10 minutes. So the first thing you need to do is determine, is the default orientation the correct way for your up, down, or open, close? So you would just hit whichever direction you want to, depending on if your shade is already open or closed. We'll pretend that this shade is close to the top, and we're going to hit down, but it looks like it's going up. So the way you would fix that is you just hold your center My button until the device jogs. So now you'll notice that the buttons are reversed. If it was right the first time and you accidentally switched it, you can just do the same process to reverse it by holding that center button until it reverses. Now it goes back the other way. So I'm going to set it back to the setting that's most visually accurate to you, where down is this direction and up is this direction. So once you're at this state, you're ready to set your initial limits. The way you do that is you run the unit to your open state. So you're going to hold the up arrow until you're at whatever location is your max opening state. Once you do that, you hit the My button and the down button. So it's going to keep spinning. What you want to do is let it get close to the bottom and hit that center button to stop it. Then what you are looking to do is refine it to closed. So now you're going to use your arrow to kind of walk it the rest of the way closed. Once you're at that finished state of where your bottom or closed is, you're going to hit the up arrow and the center button together. And then hit the My button to stop it. Once you're comfortable with those settings, you hit and hold the center button until you see the motor jog. That lets you know that the programming settings were saved on the end limits. Now to completely lock the programming in, you take your programming device, paper clip or whatever, and on the back of your controller is a small programming button. You're only going to hit it very briefly. The motor will jog, and that lets you know that you're complete with this process. From this point on, all the settings are saved. Your lower limits will run to wherever you save them, and your upper one, so you can see I just hit the up, it's going to roll all the way up to wherever we set that original upper limit, and then stop. You can run that test to make sure you're happy with the limits. If you're not happy with those limits, we'll talk about the different ways to reset them in the next two clips.